The Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus put before the crowds another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds, but when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. The kingdom of heaven is also like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and reburied. Then in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. On finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was thrown into the sea and caught fish of every kind. When it was full, they drew it ashore, sat down, and put the good into baskets, but threw out the bad. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteous and throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all of this? They answered, yes. And he said to them, therefore every scribe who has become a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like the master of a household, who brings out of his treasure what is new and what is old. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. So far, the kingdom of heaven has been like a sower who went out to sow. As they sowed, some seeds fell on the path, others on rocky ground, still others among thorns, and finally others on good soil. And like someone who sowed good seed in her fields, but while everybody else was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheats. Do you want us to go do some weeding? The slaves of the householder ask. No. And then in rapid fire succession, like a mustard seed, yeast, hidden treasure, a pearl hunting merchant, a net full of fish. Have you understood all this? I imagine the collective look on the disciples' faces, staring blankly around at each other for a facial cue, a gesture, something, anything. What do we say? Yes. One of them timidly ekes out. Yes, they repeat. Another joining in. Yes, and another nodding. The collective group think offering a hesitant united front. Have you understood all this? Yes? Yes, definitely yes. I'm not so convinced. And I don't think Jesus was either. There's a reason we have 7 parables in the span of one chapter. Different images, different stories, different experiences will appeal to different people. Parables are not riddles with one correct answer, one pastor reminds us. They are invitations into deeper reflection. A baker may hear something in the yeast that we miss. A fisherman may notice details in the net that escape someone who has never cast one. But someone new to it all might hear possibilities we've never even thought of. Every time we return to these stories, another facet of the kingdom catches the light. The kingdom of heaven is like an extravagant sower, sowing seed no matter the terrain, because that's what God's love is like. There is enough and then some to go around, so that all might experience it no matter who they are or where they find themselves. The kingdom of heaven is like a field of wheat and weeds that are allowed to grow up together, not because the farmer is bad at their job, but because the farmer is patient. Because that's what God, who is full of mercy and abounding in steadfast love and grace and forgiveness, is like. The kingdom of heaven is like a tiny mustard seed that takes over like an invasive species until it is everywhere, offering in its branches a welcome respite for every bird of the air. The kingdom of heaven is like a woman who sneaks a handful of yeast into 3 measures, that's about 50 pounds of flour, yielding enough bread to feed the entire neighborhood. The kingdom of heaven is like someone who sells everything she has to buy a single field with a hidden treasure, or a merchant who likewise sells everything that he has, because that's how valuable and precious and life-giving it is. The kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into the sea, pulling in fish of every kind together before any talk of separation of good and bad. The kingdom of heaven is extravagant, sowing in abundance, merciful, patiently tending to weed and wheat alike, pervasive, offering shelter to all, hospitable, offering bread for all. The kingdom of God is hidden in plain sight, among us here, in the ordinary stuff of life, in the places we least expect. The kingdom of heaven draws each of us in together. The wheat, the weed, the good, the bad, the doubting skeptic, the unflinching adherent. The kingdom of heaven is subversive, upending our expectations of what is possible, always surprising, always reminding us of the wild, untamable nature of God's ways. Is this how the world is, we ask, as we look around at the injustice, the brokenness, the despair of it all? This is how the world can be, these parables tell us, doubling down on the extravagant, abundant nature of God's limitless love and fierce and tender mercy. What is the world like when God's will is done? The hymn sings, and the parables invite us to consider. This is what the kingdom of heaven is like. Too abundant to put false limits on, too plentiful to be concerned with where it lands or who deserves it, too surprising to be predictable, showing up in the most ordinary of places, in a field, in a kitchen, in the waters, around the table, pointing us to an extraordinary love.